I want to welcome everyone to the Collective Compass movement. And we just want to add so much fuel and momentum behind each individual person going even deeper into their self-healing journey and allowing themselves to have the courage to go after what they really want their life to look like. It doesn't matter how far you get off course, you can always course correct. And it doesn't matter how disconnected you feel right now, you can find clarity with the right skills and the right tools. You can overcome symptoms from diagnoses. You can shift your whole entire perspective to start to see your own strength and your own power to create your own reality. And this is not a joke. This is what people are doing all over the world right now. And that's why I genuinely feel this personal elevation of the entire energy of the planet, because we have the tools now. We have the ability through the internet to learn at such an accelerated pace that we can ask a question and we can receive an answer and we can do something with that. And that's really what I wanted to use my time to share with you guys today, to give you some insight on what it is that the beginning of my journey looked like that led me where I am today. So in the very, very, very beginning, I had to start asking myself some questions. I had to start asking the universe some questions. I had to keep asking questions that were opening my eyes to what was really going on, because I was at a point in my life where I really was not taking responsibility of the choices that I was making and what those consequences were from those choices. I had to really gain some clarity on what the actual fuck was going on with me to cause me to be where I was in 2011, in so much pain, in so much discomfort, in so much disgust with myself. In 2011, I was so disgusted with myself. I was in a marriage that I hated. I was in a job that I hated. It was a family business. I was miserable. I wasn't spending any time with my kids. I was sacrificing all of my money for things that didn't matter and to try to help people in my life that did not want help. And I was focusing on everyone else, telling everyone else how to do what they needed to do. And I was not focusing on myself. And I realized that I was doing that so that I could distract myself from my own inner work. And then when I didn't accomplish what I wanted to, I could blame somebody else for screwing it up for me, that I didn't have to take responsibility in how I was screwing it up for myself. So I don't know if this sounds like anybody listening, but we can really screw up things for ourselves and blame it on other people around us if you're not really aware of your toxic generational patterns. So in the very beginning of my process to get out of the deepest, darkest space that I had been in at that point in my life, I had to start asking myself some questions. I had to start asking questions that were really going to bring me the answers, such as, what the fuck am I actually doing here? What do I really love? What am I really spending my time on that brings me joy? Where am I actually going? How did I get here? I had to ask myself some really intense questions, because I was at that point willing to face my own inner pain. So when you get to the point to where you're willing to face your own inner pain, you're going to have some new level of courage that's going to help you have the courage to ask the questions. So be mindful when you ask the questions, the answers will come, right? Thank you, Oprah, for letting me know that. And that was a scary part of the process, because I had been ignoring myself, asking myself all these questions for so long that I knew deep down inside me, once I started asking them, it was going to get real ugly. I was going to do the ugly cry a lot, probably driving in the car where everyone could see me, Probably I needed to decide if I wanted waterproof mascara or none at all. I had to be willing to drive around and listen to the answers that were coming. I had to be willing to create the space to receive the answers that I was asking. So once I got the balls to start asking these really deep, painful questions that I had been ignoring for an entire decade, I had to create the space to actually receive the answers. And that was even more terrifying. I had never sat in silence before. I had never meditated. I had never slept with the TV off. I had never been without my 2 young children constantly talking to me. I had never been single. I had never given myself the space to listen for any of these answers that were trying to show up because I was using my environment as a distraction. I was using noise to drown out my inner compass. And that is another thing that we can do that will completely disorient us. And that comes from being in self sabotage, because there was a part of me that was denying myself the future that I have now created out of fear that I wouldn't be able to live up to the dream that I thought that I was meant to live. There was a part of me that was believing everyone around me when I chose to do it my own way. Some was out of fear, some was out of love. But regardless, every time I heard somebody telling me that I was making the wrong move, that I didn't know what I was doing, that I couldn't get divorced, that I shouldn't quit my job, that I shouldn't spend more time with my kids instead of being focused on the money, right? I'm crash dieting. I'm doing too much. I'm detoxing too hard. I shouldn't be running. I should ease into it. I shouldn't be juicing. I should just do. There's so many ways when you start doing what your spirit and what your energy is telling you to do, you are going to be bombarded with your entire environment telling you you're crazy. You shouldn't be doing it this way. You should do it a different way. You shouldn't do it at all, because all of a sudden what you're going to be doing is you're going to be making other people around you uncomfortable. And looking back at the time, I had no idea that people were going to react to my self-healing journey with triggered energy. I genuinely thought a decade ago, I kid you not, that when I started to better myself, I was going to be met with positive energy. I was going to be met with praise. I wasn't doing it for the praise, but I really truly thought that I was going to receive so much encouragement from my environment. And that was absolutely not true. In fact, it was the opposite.